To Mi Gente on Air. We're back here at Alpha Media Studios at WSGW, and it's a hot one. I think in the almost 4 years that I've been doing the show, I've always worn a suit jacket, and today I am not because it is hot. I brought it, but it's too hot, and I'm sweating here. So, anyways, we got a great show tonight, everybody. I want you to tune in tonight if you've got a question or a comment that you want to give our guest. We're going to talk about the silos and how they were painted by one of our local artists, along with the artist from Spain. And that local artist is John Vasquez. And John, how are you? We've had you on the show before.
I'm doing good.
Oh, that's wonderful. I forgot we're not in the show yet. We're still on the Facebook live stream. So come on into the room, everybody, if you want. And we'll talk with artist John Vasquez. If you got a question about those silos, what was the actual project called?
Shine Bright.
Shine Bright. Yeah. And you're going to tell us all about that in this show because there's a lot of questions that I have, and I'm sure my audience will as well, in regards to how this all came about. And we'll go right into the show here and talk with artist John Vasquez.
Welcome to Mi Gente on Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Mi Gente on Air. I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and I'm happy to be here with you tonight at the Alpha Media Studios here at WSGW Radio 100.5 FM. And it's a hot one. It's a hot day today. It's going to be hot all week. And so when this airs on Sunday, hopefully it will have cooled down a bit. And it's been really terrible for me because part of what I do in my business is food trucking, and it's just too hot to be out there on the truck, believe it or not. And so I'll probably be losing business. But we're here today to talk about what's happening in Old Town Saginaw. And I feel like Saginaw has been in an upswing. There's been some great things happening. Of course, the great Memorial Cup that happened, and almost as that was happening, we had the silos in Old Town that were being painted. And we had an artist that came from Spain, a number of different artists locally as well that helped in the project. And I have one here tonight, and his name is John Vasquez. He's a friend of mine. He's a great artist. You've seen some of his murals around Old Town and in Saginaw, downtown Saginaw. And it's just a pleasure to have you here, John. Welcome to Mi Gente on Air.
Thank you very much.
So, John, tell my audience a little bit who you are. I know I've had you on the show before, but let's talk about who you are locally, your upbringing, because since the last show, I've gotten to meet your father, and he was at the silos when you guys.
Big supporter.
Yes, he's a big supporter, and he is quite a character. Him and your family were out there, and It was nice to see them. Tell me a little bit about that.
My name is John Vasquez. I own Saginaw Tattoo Company in Old Town. I've been there for almost 8 years now. I'm a local muralist. I work in large scale, so up high in the sky on lifts, and just really trying to put Saginaw on the map internationally.
Yeah, and you really have, because you've worked on a number of different murals with the Great Mural Project. Tell me which ones you have worked on downtown, and we'll go into talking about the silos.
The big one last year was the Dear Mama. That's right across the street from WNEM TV 5, I think on Franklin.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the Saginaw Spirit in lieu of the Memorial Cup coming up, and that's right across the street from the Dow. Yeah. Me and my buddy Kevin Burdick from Flint, we painted that one together.
Wow, that was a beautiful one. Kevin Burdick is from Flint, and he did the one at the Saginaw Health Department as well.
Yeah, yep. And actually the one right across from Dear Mama, the Jim Leather mural.
Yes. So Saginaw's really had some beautiful artwork that has come to our area. And I remember when there was a time when they wouldn't allow murals to come to the area, and all of a sudden there's like a plethora of murals that are shooting up, and I think we're getting a lot of attention for that. And I think it's
Break the
positive.
wall down to paint some walls. Yep.
Yes, yes. So, tell me a little bit about how you got involved. First of all, with the Great Mural Project and what they've been doing, and then we'll talk about the silos.
Jamie Forbes and me have been good friends for a long time. Me and my wife used to do date nights at city council. I know that sounds a little weird, but it was getting involved in city and understanding all the ins and outs. And that's kind of where our friendships blossomed. I know Cassie Zimmerman and Don Goodrow, so a little bit of everybody. And we kind of collaborated on what the past and present murals should have been for last summer, and that's where the Jim Leather mural came up, and the Dear Mama mural, as well as all the utility boxes that got painted last year.
Yeah, and when we talk about Jim Leather mural, we're talking about the civil rights activist who marched with Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King, and is pretty well known down south.
He's got a lot of statues around the whole entire country. It's surprising that we don't hear a whole lot about him in Saginaw.
Yeah, and as he was Saginaw born, wasn't he?
Yes,
and
he
from
was.
Here, and
Yep.
we have to change that a little bit, but yeah, that is one remarkable mural, and it really tells a story, about the civil rights movement. Because he was handicapped, he was
it's 50 miles on those crutches.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
It's pretty gnarly.
And the Dear Mama mural, that was a beautiful mural as well, and I was there for the grand opening of that, or the ribbon cutting. What do you call it when you an artist?
Ribbon cutting. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so John here has been involved quite a bit with the beautification, I would say, of Saginaw with these beautiful murals. And how did you get involved, you and Devon Collins, with the Silos project that was what's the name of it again?
The Shine Bright mural. Yep. That's located in Old Town Saginaw, right on the riverfront. Originally, when the project came about, they were just going to be hiring a group from Spain to do it, and there was some public outcry, so they wanted to get some locals involved, and that's kind of where I entered the story. And I have a lot of good advocates in town about getting me involved. So,
yeah. Well, when you talk about, the kind of the pushback, I guess, if you will, in regard to doing this, let's lay that out. Tell us a little bit about that, because I remember reading about it, and I know that it was quite costly for the mural project. But tell us a little bit about it from your end and what you knew going into it.
So I think a lot of people, they see a big number, they don't understand behind the scenes. They just immediately think there's some group from Spain getting paid almost $1 million to come paint a mural, when in reality, that's not the case. There's a lot of logistics, there's lift rentals, there's paint, there's supplies, there's all kinds of things that lead up towards it. I mean, even the infrastructure of the building, getting it sound, getting it primed, painted. There was a bunch of hoppers that got tore off by, I think, Beer Line 2 years ago. So just lots of prep work leading up to it to get to the point to actually be able to paint it.
Yeah, because if you as I used to walk around the murals, the silos before, and they looked like they were in pretty rough shape for quite a number of years. And so there was really some prep work that had to be done, correct? Yeah. And tell me, who owns those silos? Who actually owns the silos?
Honestly, I don't think it's one individual. I think it's like a partnership. Mark Flagenheimer, he's a big portion of the ownership of that building and getting the permission to actually paint it and all that stuff. So to the logistics as that is concerned, I'm not entirely sure exactly who owns the whole area. So.
And Mark was the CEO of the Michigan Sugar Company for a number of years.
Yep.
And then Larry Preston was partnering with Mark. Larry Preston, one of our leaders in the community, an author. And they really made something beautiful happen for our community. And I have experienced a lot lately of going down to the murals myself. I was taking the cover of the next issue of Mi Gente magazine. John, do you have that? I want to show the cover there. And I thought, what better way it's our graduation issue to showcase our graduates in front of what's the biggest thing right now happening in Saginaw.
Yeah.
And that's Shine Bright murals. And so, as you can see, some of the graduates that are there in front of the murals, um, we were really happy, although it was a very windy day, like it's always windy over there, right?
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see that we're going to be showcasing and telling a little bit about the story as well about the silos and the Shine Bright mural in the next issue of Mi Gente magazine. So it's kind of goes hand in hand that we have you here today to talk about that. And when you got asked to be involved, what were your first thoughts?
Well, it's not a normal project. It's what we call a monster. There's a lot of variables as far as wind and weather, heat, cold, long hours. So we're there sun up to sundown. You just got to be kind of mentally prepared for that, as well as getting up in the heights. The tallest point is 165 foot. So it's not something that everybody can do and just get up there and paint something without, being mentally prered.
Yeah, I sure couldn't do that. I've got a fear of heights, so
Yeah.
I know that would work for me. But Devon Collins, another artist locally here, and I had him on the show with you before. What was it like working with him on that? Because you're both local artists.
It's like my family. We do a lot of things as like a group effort, and I'm always trying to include Devon. Originally, when we first met, was the first year of the showdown, and he had never spray painted before, and he's a big airbrusher. So it's exactly the same thing. It's just on a larger scale. So I kind of got him into the mix, and I think he's gotten a little bit of an addiction to spray paint now. So it's a good thing.
So the whole silo thing pretty much was spray painting.
Yeah, spray painting, and then airless sprayers. So basically you have smaller cans for smaller details, and then you fill up a sprayer, use it like a spray can.
Wow. And had you done that before?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
A lot of the large scale murals, that's usually the best route to take these days, unless you're hand painting stuff, which takes quite a long time.
So I know that as I have gone over there to the silos, and I'm from Old Town, I live in Old Town, so like I'm really happy to see this happening, because every time I've gone there have been a lot of tourists, people that are showing people the murals. I had a friend of mine who came from Pontiac, and he wanted to see the murals and just thought it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's really helping in terms of the economic development in the area, because I know that each time that I've gone over there, I think at least 3 times I've gone to the junction or gone to some of the local, and it's kind of nice to see that the different bar scenes that we have and the restaurants that we have in Old Town, that they're benefiting from that, because we're sticking around, having a drink and then maybe going back and seeing the murals. So that's really nice to see. Is that something that was in the plans for this?
Yeah. Anything to do with street art, we like to call it organic tourism. So there's lots of people that just travel through the country looking for murals, and we're creating a destination spot. And having a diverse group of people coming in is kind of important, instead of just having the same people do things over and over and over again. We need to bring people from the outside in, new ideas, create growth. So
right. And when has Saginaw ever had such an attraction? I don't think ever.
No.
And see, I moved into Old Town in 2001. In 1996, actually, I had the first Mi Gente office there in the old Ipple building before it burned down. And there was kind of a grittiness to Old Town at the time. I don't know if you remember that.
I definitely remember it.
Yeah, and things have changed. I mean, in the last 20 years, things have really changed to Old Town, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. When I do have friends, we can leave my house, walk to the different bars, and walk to a restaurant or have you, and it's just a nice area. And I think that this is a real plus for our community, and I'm really happy that it's in Old Town. So tell me a little bit about the actual artist from Spain, and what was his name? Because I don't want to get it wrong.
Acuda San Miguel.
San Miguel, yeah. Acudas San Miguel. Yeah, that's right.
Otherwise, his real name is Oscar. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, so that's his kind of like stage name.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I got to meet him briefly. And that's right. I did call him Oscar because somebody who introduced me told me his name was Oscar. But what was he like? What was it like working with somebody who has this? He said was his biggest
hmm
art mural, but he is known to have different murals elsewhere in the world. So tell me about that.
I think anytime you are working with somebody that you don't actually know, you have never met before, you don't have anything pre-existing, you can be a little standoffish, but they came in open arms, big heart, and it made the project go a lot smoother and just fun. That doesn't happen very often. Sometimes everybody's just business, 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 and can't have fun with it.
Yeah.
They were great the whole time, high energy, and I think that shows in the mural.
Yeah, definitely. And you had dinner with them often. I
Oh
saw
yeah.
some pictures. Some of the restaurants and the food trucks were asked to provide dinners free for the artists, just as a collaboration partnership. And how many were actually from the Spanish?
There
Is it
was
Spain?
There was
Spain.
4 of them, and then their manager Jacob, and he did some painting as well. Because I think originally there was supposed to be 6, but there was some work visa issues, so it ended up being 4 main artists, and then their manager.
And how many local artists were there?
I think there was 6 of us
Okay.
total. Yep.
Wow. And I know that Oscar, he was going back and forth actually from
Yep.
Spain. He had to return to Spain and
Yeah, I
come
mean
back.
he has a lot of gallery shows and stuff throughout the entire world, and it's like he's kind of a big deal. So it's not surprising that he's got a good team that he can trust,
Yeah.
travel back and forth, and not have any issues.
Wow. Well, when I look at those murals and I think of Old Town, and I kind of look at you and the tattoo shop, and it all kind of goes hand in hand. So when, like, what I'm trying to say is when I go see the murals, I think of you.
Yeah.
And I think of the showdown, and
Mhm.
how we have partnered as well with that event. That event's coming up as well again, the third annual.
Yep, September 14th.
Oh, okay.
Fourth annual.
The fourth.
Yeah, we're at year 4.
Wow, how did I miss? I thought I thought I was part of the second annual. No, it must have been the third. But where are you guys planning to have it, or is that something that you haven't decided
We
yet?
haven't made any solid plans yet. It would be cool to do it in that silos area just because of the staging area and
Yeah.
everything that goes with it, the backdrop, and then on the river. Niagara Street's a little bit under construction where we usually have it, so it's going to be a little difficult. We were also thinking maybe on Hamilton Street somewhere, but I'm going to have to build panels, so it would be a little different than painting on like an abandoned building.
Yeah, because the abandoned buildings that you painted on last year, they're actually going to be torn down, right?
Yes, they are.
What's going on there? Is there
we were
refurbished?
very well aware that they were going to get torn down. I was just hoping maybe a couple more years, but I get it. There's not a whole lot that they can do with that building.
Mhm.
It's kind of gutted inside. It's falling apart. I know a lot of people are like, save the buildings. I get that, but at the same time, we need new stuff too. So
Yeah. Well, we're getting a new building in Old Town with that building that's being built.
Yep.
Where E-Walls is. Well,
Yep.
what's going on there? Bar,
there's
another bar?
there's a parking structure going right there, and then there is, I think, 4 or 5 townhouses being built next to it, and they're 3-story with the garage underneath too, and then the right behind where Ewald's is at, there's a bunch of lofts being built and storefronts.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, John, you know a lot about Old Town.
Yeah, a lot of meetings.
Do you really?
Go to
See?
a lot of meetings. Yeah.
And is that with the Old Town Business Association?
Yeah, a little bit of that. And just, there's not a whole lot of people getting involved. So sometimes it's just the same group, rotating meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I like I said, I've seen a lot of change, and I have been a part of Old Town, and with offices there. I was also in the Carter Building, which is now Jake's Steakhouse. But
Mhm.
I had my second office there for Mi Gente magazine, and then that got bought out, and then I moved actually to one of the oldest homes in Saginaw. It was built in 1864. And it's part of the Old Town area as well. It's a historic district there, and just really enjoy how I can walk. Like I said, I love walking to Fralia's. That's a great restaurant in Old Town, and I also love Liquid Lounge
Mhm.
and that whole area. And
Hey,
and
storefronts are full now, and I think that
eh,
was the first hurdle.
yeah, and we got a new pizza place now,
Yes, very excited.
right there next to the Liquid Lounge. Well, not next to it, but pretty close.
Yep.
And that looks really exciting. He just brought in a new oven that is kind of one of those big ovens like they have in Italy, where you
Yep.
post pizzas in there, and it's wonderful to see that because I love the idea. I recently saw a poster where, during the Memorial Cup, where they listed all the different restaurants and bars in the area, and I thought, wow, there's a lot there.
Mhm.
And I guess you just don't think about it when you live there, and you see all the number of different establishments, and that's wonderful to see. And I really like. I'm a real big proponent for Old Town.
Yeah, and they're sticking around too. It's not like opening and closing really quickly, so
Yeah.
that's important as well.
And that was one of the things, although there is changeover, like the
Mhm.
Brosser
Yep.
train building, they're running that out. The corner where
Rocky Locks.
Rocky Locks.
That's going to be a restaurant, I hear.
Is it?
Wow. That's the news.
That's exciting.
I got to keep the
too.
rest under wraps, but that's the news.
But what I wanted to say was that there's a number of different businesses that have been there for a while now, whereas maybe 10 years ago there was a lot of changeover.
Yep.
And now I see that they're sticking around, and they're part of the Old Town area, and I think Old Town's for an upswing, coming strong, and I think the murals are part of that.
Yeah.
What would you say in this time and place that we are living in? Because there was some real excitement with the Memorial Cup and then the murals happening. What was that like for you as an Old Town business person?
I think anything is good. I feel like I grew up in a time where there wasn't a lot happening and a lot of bad news, and I think there's a lot of people that got some energy now and we're committed, and I think that's important. So it kind of like, you can get down sometimes about certain things, but you realize that there's a bigger group of people finally willing to do the same thing you are and put the same energy. So makes you show up every day.
Yeah, and I got to meet your wife and your kids.
Yep.
I got to meet them over there at the signing by the artists for the project, and your wife is very involved and very supportive as well to Old Town and the murals.
She's my PR advocate. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's actually really one of the planners for the showdown, the fourth annual. So I was glad to hear that that's going to continue on as well. Now we are having the Taco Fest, I think, the week before. The third annual Taco Fest will be happening as well, and I think we found a location.
Where are you thinking?
Should I say it? Should I say it on here? Well, we've moved it around. We had it on Bay Road at the car dealerships, and then we had it at the soccer complex. And this year we're going to be having it at the former Kokomo.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to incorporate the bumper cars and the go-karts and the putt-putt golf.
Yeah.
And we're really excited because they have a new ownership and they're willing to work with us to bring a project that is known and has an audience, such as ours, the Taco Fest. And they're doing it to attract people to the area because a lot of people didn't know they were even open.
Yeah, and I mean, from the outside, it looks.
Yeah, well, they've got some men that are going to be working on it within the next month to paint it and upgrade it, because this is actually, since Kokomo's, there was another owner, and now this is the third owner that is committed, and he's out of Farmington Hills, and they're going to see it through.
Cool.
So we're excited about that, and it'll be a change for our Taco Fest, and it'll be in Kochville Township this time instead of the Saginaw Township, which is a whole nother area that we have to deal with for our food trucks. So but I wanted to read a comment here from Sue Soria. She says, fantastic job. Took my granddaughter out there when you all were putting the finishing touches on Wednesday. Hats off to you and all the artists that made these look amazing and colorful. I also took her to see some of the other murals around town. Thanks for that comment, Sue Soria. So, I think it's positive. And, I have seen some pushback still in regards to the costs and all that. But I think people are going to realize it's a positive thing for our community.
Yes.
And it's done. There's nothing.
And it doesn't cost you any money to go see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing. Organic tourism, it's very important for Saginaw. That's what we need. We need to really push for that.
Yeah. And how much bigger is because this is being touted as the second largest mural, correct?
Yep.
How much bigger is the first one in Toledo?
The first one is pretty big.
Really?
Yeah, it's right along the riverfront when you're crossing over that huge bridge in Toledo. You can see it. I would say, I think it's 20 silos stacked together.
Wow.
And it took him almost 2 years to complete. So there was a lot of hiccups involved with that project. So I was really happy to see this project kind of go through. No accidents, nothing weird happened, and we got it finished.
Yeah, within what, 2-3 weeks?
2.5, 3 weeks. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. But it wasn't the same artist that did that.
No, nope. It was a different artist. He does a lot of water tower paintings, actually.
Wow. Well, we're here with John Vasquez, I was going to say infamous artist, the artist here from Saginaw locally, and he owns a tattoo shop over in Old Town Saginaw, and he was one of the important artists that really contributed to the Silos murals down in Old Town. So we're going to talk more with John when we come back here on Mi Gente on Air. All right, so there you have John Vasquez. I know many of you know him out there in the community, and if you've got a question or you got a concern, put it in the room, and we will read it to him. Read it in as part of the show. But I'm happy to have him here on this show to tell us a little bit about this. I know that a number of people had questions and have asked me, and I don't know all the answers either because that was one of the things that. Like on Facebook and the social media platforms, it's been bombarded with a lot of stuff about the murals. Everybody seems to be the reporter these days, and everybody was putting a lot of things out there. And so, you kind of skip over things, and then when you got a question, you're like, oh, let me look that up. Who do I look up? And so it's fun though, because it's like I said, it's a positive thing for the community, and it's so colorful, like Sue Soria said. So, if you got that question or you want to make a comment, please do, because this is part of what Mi Gente on Air is bringing the show here to the community. And it's not just my show. It's also your show, Mi Gente, my people. And we're going to talk more with John as we go back into the show now. And we're going to ask our producer here, Mr. Jonathan Dent, who talks on the news programs, and he's making waves as well, and he talks on the different programs, and so I got to get him on my program too. So let's go back in the show, and we'll see you here on Mi Gente on Air.
You're listening to Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
Welcome back. We're talking with John Vasquez. He's a local artist, a muralist. He owns a Saginaw Tattoo over on Old Town on Michigan Ave. And he's getting a lot of attention these days, just like the Silos. And how do you feel about that, John? Because, you're like the local connection here, you and Devon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun wave to ride. I'm not going to be upset about it.
Yeah. Nicely said. And tell my audience, because as I have said, there's been a lot of attention with these silos, and there's a lot of attention with the Great Mural Project, which is a good thing. And you're kind of gunning now for the next big thing in terms of your artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that, because I just saw it on Facebook, and I think it's phenomenal.
It's one of those things. Every piece of art you're making, you're always trying to one up yourself. This one's a little tricky to just one up, being the second largest mural in the country. So I'm excited for what the future has in store. I'd like to do some international traveling. I think that's the next goal, is just to get overseas and meet new people.
Wow, that would be awesome. I'm talking about your Indian.
Schopenhagen.
Yeah. Did you already forget?
No, so I
Or you didn't want to talk about it on air?
no, it's all right. So with this mural that we just did, the Shine Bright mural, we had a lot of pushback about Saginaw heritage, and it seemed like there was a big call to action on him in particular. So I kind of just threw the feelers out there and seeing everybody's perspective, and it's just a matter of like raising money. So you got a good amount of like energy behind it, it's not too hard to raise that money. So that's kind of where I'm going, and hopefully get that up by the end of the summer.
And who John is referring to is an Indian from what time period are we talking? The beginning of
It was
Fort Saginaw?
1809 to 1911, and he was born on the Tibbetawasi River near Greenpoint, the nature preserve over off of Michigan. And he was kind of like a bridge between the wealthiest people that were coming into the area, immigrants, and the native population, and just kind of like a cross between. So he would help with like fishing, resources, and all kinds of stuff as far as this area is concerned, all the way to Grayling.
And what was his name again?
Schopenhagen.
Schopenhagen.
Chief Schopenhagen.
Chief Schopenhagen. Okay. Yeah, and it looks like it would be a wonderful mural if it comes to fruition. And
just got to put it in the universe.
Yep. And for a mural like that size, say like let's take the spirit mural that you did. The cost on something like that, you're looking at least $10K.
Yeah, usually 10 to 15. For something like the mural that I'm proposing, I would just looking for 10 grand. You got to think about lift, supplies, and then just my time involved. Usually like a lift to rent for a whole week is $3 grand right off the bat. So, and say you're there for a couple extra days, more money on top of that. So try to cover all the costs.
Wow. That's going to be a great undertaking. I wish you well with that. And Anthony Bertie Rendon, we've had him on the show too. He's saying, shout out to John for being one of the sparks starting the Saginaw Art Renaissance. One love, brother, and keep making history.
Appreciate you, Bertie.
Bertie, that's great. That's something to say, a Saginaw Art Renaissance. That's pretty neat. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that today in 2024?
I think it's great. I think the last time I saw this kind of energy was probably like the mid 90s for the art fair, when all those blocks were shut down and we had all those vendors out there. But as far as like murals are concerned, we're like right at the beginning. So I'm excited to be a part of it and put all my energy behind it.
What do you think kicked that off? What kicked? I mean, I think the Great Mural Project, obviously, and I think what was one of their first murals? I know the one,
Freddie Diaz.
Yeah, Freddie Diaz over there with Las Estrellas.
Yeah,
Las Estrellas, and that was he does a wonderful job, and I love seeing Freddie's work. He's out there in Southwest Detroit and around Michigan doing murals, and they're really nice.
He's getting some big companies too, Coca-Cola, Modelo.
Happen. It's like it's the season. It's the season, and
season of change.
I'm glad you guys are really grasping it and taking it for what it is. Because
just show up,
Yeah, Jonathan Denton, he's my producer here. What do you think about what's happening in Old Town and with the Silos murals?
I think it's really interesting. The question about Old Town, I think, it's great to see that part of the city really starting to blossom a lot. I know a lot of people look at downtown and things are moving a lot slower on the riverfront there, and there's a lot of pessimism when it comes to that. But man, I think Old Town is really coming into its own in a big way, and I was a little bit disappointed to see during the Memorial Cup that maybe the foot traffic wasn't quite there, because I think it's a really neat part of the city, and I think it's a very unique part of the city. And a huge part of that is the murals that are up around the area. I was speaking of the Memorial Cup, I was walking around with a couple people who don't normally go to Saginaw, and they were pointing up at the Jim Leatherer mural as we were walking in that area, and they were asking questions about it. And that was cool because I got to share with them the history and the story behind it. And I'm hoping that there's more of that as time goes on. I actually have a question for you though, John.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of these murals that have been going on, there have been people from around Michigan and now internationally with artists from Spain coming over. What does that do for you as an artist in terms of learning and making those connections? And what does it do for Saginaw, do you think?
First and foremost, I think for Saginaw, it's always bad news. And to bring some people in from Spain and show them family and hospitality, I think is very important for their story and our story. It kind of solidifies who we are, that we do have a good community and there are people that are going to be here. And as far as me, I don't know. I feel like I'm all about storytelling. I think it's important, and every new mural that goes up is just adding to our story, and it's allowed to change too. So I'm excited for the change, and I'm excited for the new stories.
I do have a question about the mural, the Shine Bright mural.
Mm-hmm.
I know you didn't have a whole lot of artistic input into what the vision was. That was all Oscar, but I heard an interview with him and it was kind of hard to understand. Do you know what what it was? Was it just meant to be kind of pretty? Was there something being represented?
It's like a clash. So he's bringing past and present kind of together and also looking into the future. So there's a lot of different patterns going on, and some are very old, some are very new, and some are kind of like looking into the future and then kind of trying to tie them all together with colors. The really important thing about this mural is we used every color on the spectrum. Wow. And that's not something that happens very often. Usually you pick a palette and you stick to it. This is like, how can I use every color and use it to its best ability, including grayscale. So you'll see some grayscale images up on those silos as well. It's like the clash, but like there's a harmony involved too.
But part of what he wanted to bring to this mural project was diversity.
Yes.
He talked about that. I remember when I was standing there when he was talking to the press, and he talked about that, and I thought, wow, that's really beautiful that he incorporated, like you said, so many colors, and he wanted to make sure diversity was a part of it as well. So I think he really accomplished something there. And one of the questions that was asked to him was, if these murals survive 100 years from now, what do you think fellow humanity will say, about these murals, and what, from your perspective as an artist?
Well, I think the best part about mural work is all these conversations that are happening when you're not there.
Yeah.
There's all of these perspectives, good, bad, it doesn't matter. If we're invoking emotion, I think we've done our job. And I feel like that's how he feels as well. So if we think 100 years in the future, I feel like we're still going to be evoking emotion. And that's the most important part.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I wondered is the murals it depends on where you're standing. If you're standing by the river, the mural to the left was untouched. Why was that? That one, the mural, the murals, the silos to the left.
Which one are you talking about?
If you're standing by the river.
Yep.
And then the silos to the left, there's a little.
Oh, there's a little cluster of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't know if there's any intentions of painting them yet. We've gotten a lot of questions, and that's just one of those things where we're going to have to raise money. Same with the other silos. We're going to have to get some of the structure pulled off so we can see the actual silos, the hoppers that are sitting in front, that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's maybe a future project.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if Saginaw, will become a city that will flourish with having students that are, whether someone like you or Devon is actually going to be the mentors to the next generation of artists that we may.
That's my retirement plan right there. Yeah.
There? Okay. Well,
at some point, my body's going to give out. So
if you see, if you see, such a beautiful piece of work like that just kind of goes hand in hand, I think, because I think it will continue on with different murals throughout the city. And, even with the Great Mural Project, with what they did with those boxes. I mean, there was one that was just finished yesterday, I saw.
It's getting into the neighborhood. So my perspective is future generation. I think there's a lot of kids in the city that never get to leave. They don't get to have this outside perspective. And unless we bring it to them, they don't know any better. So I think that's super important with art. We don't have to worry about a gallery space. It's right there in front of you walking down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to admit this, but I have gone to rallies, and when you're in the line there, you could just appreciate the murals right in front of you. And I was talking with the girl that was working there, and she was saying, yeah, they finally finished it. We've been watching it all this time, and it's just like right out her window, her serving window. So that's kind of neat. And one of the neat things that I saw also, and I talked with the reporter from the Detroit News that was down there for the signing by the artist. I thought that was so neat that they ran that on the front page of the Detroit News, because, as we're talking about the attention that Saginaw's getting, that's big. That was huge.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, to be on the front cover of that news.
I heard possibly New York Times.
Whoa, that would be really nice.
And that's what this is about, putting us on the map.
Yeah, and I think that, Detroit is also on an upswing. The city of Detroit is, I think, from what I see in the attention that it's getting, is even in Southwest Detroit.
So many cool murals.
Yeah, Elton Duran, my friend,
so good.
Him and Freddie are just like thriving in that capacity, in that landscape of murals. And he just got a Kresge Foundation. He was a recipient of the Kresge Foundation award, and is doing more murals. So it's really something that has changed, because like I said, 10 years ago, this wasn't happening. And I know
that's why I was showing up to city meetings,
Yeah. Wow.
Some agenda there, but it's for the best. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nancy Rodarte Rodriguez, she says, shine bright, Saginaw, thumbs up. and that's what it is. I think, as lifelong residents of Saginaw, I haven't seen anything like this. And, I've kind of just been like ignoring some of the negativity that I see, not with the silos, but just other things that are happening, that we always get knocked down for. But it's nice to be on that positive, swing, and saying, you know what, Saginaw's got it going on.
Yeah, well, we have
a
great art community and great music community. I feel like some of the harshest communities, or not so put together, we have the best art communities. We have the best to offer as far as culture is concerned. And we just got to push through all the bad.
So how does like the everyday citizen who may look at these murals say, well, how can I get involved? Because you say, that there's got to be a movement, to continue on in the path of the way we're going.
There's lots of events all the time. We're always putting calls to action out, as far as volunteers are concerned. And I mean, we even, we run the Lawn Chair Film Fest as well. That's coming up in Old Town, and just even getting volunteers for that's tricky.
Well, how can I get my food truck in there? Nobody ever lets me.
No, whatever, Larry.
But listen, even just yesterday, the Great Mural Project, I saw Jamie Forbes looking for volunteers for another project that they got going on. So
they're going to be doing a fundraising event coming up in July.
Yeah. So that's a good way, because they're looking for a number of different volunteers, and it looks like a big project. So that's wonderful to see that as well. But I think that as we're talking here today, and I mentioned the attention that the silos have been getting all over the place, and in different posts on social media. It can be confusing and all, but I think it's a positive, and I think if we continue the dialogue and we keep talking about it, and we, keep talking about the artwork that's happening, it can only help.
Yeah. This definitely is not hurting anything. It's only helping.
Right. And one of the artists that you had at the show down last year, Zachary Curtis from Pontiac.
Yep.
Man, he's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. He just got back from Taiwan, actually.
Yeah.
He just did a huge mural there.
Yeah, and I was in Pontiac recently, and I seen some of his murals. The one at the gas station right there
Yep.
on Telegraph, and then he's got the big one
Mm-hmm.
downtown. And I'm like, wow, this
He's living in Detroit now.
is he really?
Yep, he moved down to Detroit. Yeah.
Wow, he's got canvases all over the place
Yes,
there.
he
That's
does.
yeah. So, well, is he coming for the showdown this
I
year?
haven't invited anybody yet.
We haven't gotten that far, huh?
Yeah, because it's an invitational usually. So
And you're going to be doing panels because you don't really have the abandoned
Yeah.
buildings. Okay, so that means I can draw, right? Hey, by the way, I want to thank you. I want to thank John Vasquez. He did a nice panel for us for Dia de los Muertos and the Union Civic Americana last year, and we raffled off and we made like $450.
Cool.
And his father actually won it, drew the winning ticket.
Of course he did.
Yeah. Does he have that in his house?
Yes, he does. He's got it hanging up. Yep.
Wow, that's great. And he was so proud of that, and it was nice because it really went with the event itself. And just want to thank you for that,
I
because
appreciate it.
it's not every day that you can get a famous artist like John Vasquez to do a panel for you. But it went to a good cause. The money, we had $450 that we gave towards our Queen's Scholarship. And
Cool.
so that's really nice that we were able to do that. And she's a phenomenal gal, and going to Michigan State University, and she wants to become a doctor someday. So we should get her on the show one of these times. But John, what else would you want to say to the audience here today as we're coming down to the 5-minute mark of the show? What would you say to the audience out there, and what would you want them to know about what you're feeling today after such a big project that you've just come off?
I think as the future goes forward, there is a lot of good things happening in Saginaw, and you don't have to look too hard anymore. I think we just need people to show up and maybe get off the internet a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you on that, because I was just thinking today how Mi Gente magazine is the precursor of this show, Mi Gente on Air, obviously. But we're celebrating today 29 years
Wow.
that I started that publication. Can you believe that? That's older than Jonathan. and the thing is, my publication is older than my producer of the show.
That's wild.
Isn't that crazy? That's kind of
wild.
It's kind of mind-boggling. But what I'm trying to say is that in those first 3 years of Mi Gente magazine, we're talking 1995, 96, 97, maybe even 98. Man, I was gun-ho. I was like, I don't even know how I did what I did, but I had such ambition and all that. And then I was thinking today, well, you know what? The reason why I had so much ambition and so much time to put forth to the magazine was because I didn't have a cell phone yet.
You're right.
In 1999, I bought my staff I bought 4 cell phones for my staff. And I was thinking just today, why am I so not motivated? I get it, they're almost 30 years, you get kind of burned out or whatever. But I find myself at night getting mad at myself because I'm strolling through my phone.
Information overload
TikTok.
sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, now I know why. I've got to shut this phone off and actually, like you said,
no phones in bed. That's what I say at my house. No phones in bed. We're relaxing.
What do you think about that, John? What I just said
about the whole technology, as someone who grew up
because you've always had it. You've always had it all your life, right?
I had really good parents who were like, set those boundaries for me, and God, I thank them every day for it, because it is a problem. No, I think in terms of the motivation, it's still there. I think things are easier with the technology now. I can look up a picture of the murals and go, I see them here. It's not the same.
No.
I can look up what restaurants are in Old Town and go, I'm not feeling any of those, but it's not the same as walking around and window shopping and smelling all the smells that come along with those restaurants. And
yeah,
I don't know. I see how it saps motivation.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
It is, but at the same time, it allows people to share, and like the reach of these amazing works of art and these amazing businesses and all of that goes so much further because of it. I don't know. It's a two-edged sword, and it's one of those things that
I agree.
It really is
tough to really condemn or praise.
Yeah. That was just a hypothesis of my own mind last
Yeah,
night.
that's
Well,
fair.
look, I'm thinking, as I was contemplating, well, wow, today's the anniversary of Mi Gente magazine. I can't believe that, next year, 30 years. That's just mind-boggling to me.
Staple of the community.
Wow, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And here I'm over there, I'm over there today in this hot, hot weather making patitos still. I can't believe it. But you know why I do that? Because, as I said, sometimes you get burned out, and with Mi Gente magazine, I'm using my mind. You know what I mean? So when I'm doing patitos, it's like a vacation away from
The business, yeah.
yeah, utilizing my
That's
mind.
how I feel about painting.
Yeah, I'm utilizing my arms. My arms are getting sore from rolling out the tortillas. But yeah, so I think that's part of why sometimes I want to get away, and sometimes I can't get away to travel. And I'm hoping I'm going to do that this summer. So maybe I'll see you out in Europe as you try to
Hey, that's the
paint
goal
out
here.
paint out in the world as you do. But yeah, that's wonderful. I've got an exchange student too. His name was Guglielmo Dugo, and he is from Rome, Italy. And they just opened up an art. What did he call it? He had a different name for it, but it was like an art store. And he does murals over there as well, believe it or
Cool.
not. And at one point, he was over there doing some graffiti in Old Town. I shut it down because it wasn't looking too good. But so maybe if you go to Rome, I can have you look him up because he's a great kid and really into the arts. So there you have it, everybody. We've had a great show today talking about the murals in Old Town Saginaw, and local artist John Vasquez was a part of that. And we're just so happy to have you, and that you're part of this show. This is what, your second or third time,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, third time.
And we're happy to have you here, John. And if you ever need any help or assistance on anything, just give us a call, because I'm looking forward to the showdown. That was a great event last year. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for being with us here again as we continue on talking about Latino contributions, concerns, and culture. We'll see you again. Hasta luego. So thank you for being with me here again. It's been a real pleasure doing this show, and I don't always have um, the artists lined up. And I know John came at the last minute today because I don't know why I didn't think of you earlier, because that's what's been on my mind. These murals, like I said, I can actually look out my window from my bathroom and see them. Can you believe it? And that's really nice. It's nice to, see the skyline of Old Town, if you will, because it leads right into the path where you can see the murals at the end. So it's really nice. I live in the area of Save-A-Lot.
Yep.
So, everything.
Yeah, next to old Gertner's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want you to tell the world where I live.
Remember the part where the internet is bad?
Yeah.
Like they can't tell with the food, the big yeller out there, right? But anything else you want to say that is crossing your mind right now as we say goodbye? We're on the social media platform.
Art for life. That's it.
Art for life.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to have you. You know what? Let me move this out of your way. I want people to see your face. There's John, and we're going to have him talking a little bit because as I've been putting on there, sometimes on social media, they don't have the time to see a whole show, but we'll take what I'm calling Mi Gente on air moments, where maybe a minute or two, and we highlight one of the more important things that you've had to say. So you're gonna be getting some more attention, John. But anyways, thanks everybody. It's been a pleasure, and thank you to my producer Jonathan Dent. It's always wonderful to have him here, and thanks to Matt Lester. He did a great job last year. Jonathan and Matthew interchange week by week, and neither of them want to do my show. They always call me up, do we have to stay? No, but anyways, thanks to everybody out there as we continue on, and enjoy the summer, everybody. Get ready for the showdown that's coming in September, as well as the 3rd annual Saginaw Taco Fest. Good night.